Here, all the things that we discuss do not represent MACM as a whole. So yeah.
Copy merchandise.
Yes.
He's wearing his MACM tee.
I don't know where.
Okay, make a culture move, make that chest move. All right, y'all. So a big topic that's buzzing right now that y'all may or may not know about. This may be the first place that you hear about it, maybe or maybe not. So one of the main characters in Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman, he died recently. He died of colon cancer at the age of 43, y'all. 43, that is pretty young. I know we'd be like, oh, that's old, but in reality, that's pretty young. So, yes. Let's look at this video of what other celebrities and folks had to say about that, because as you could imagine, that is a tragedy to the Black community. Yes.
We need Static Shock.
Overnight, MTV's Video Music Awards kicking off with a tribute to Chadwick Boseman.
We dedicate tonight's show to a man whose spirit touched so many. His impact lives forever.
Let's go play around.
On the screen, he often portrayed real-life icons. From James Brown in Get On Up.
You got lawyers now.
To former Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall.
Give me up.
And baseball legend Jackie Robinson.
Yeah.
But it was his role as the fictional Black Panther that made Boseman a hero in his own right. The groundbreaking lead role of a powerful African king and superhero was a first for a big-budget film. The movie would go on to become a cultural phenomenon, something Boseman spoke to Willie about in 2018.
What do you think are people responding to?
I think there's a thirst for these images. So there's a thirst for a Black superhero.
Still, the spotlight came as a surprise for the South Carolina native who majored in directing at Howard University.
Never really saw myself doing this. Never really saw myself being on stage or being in front of the camera.
Now tributes are pouring in for the 43-year-old who died after a 4-year battle with colon cancer, a diagnosis he never spoke about publicly.
The way he handled his life and managing cancer with such humility and grace and dignity lets us all know that he truly was a superhero.
The message from his family sharing the heartbreaking announcement, now the most liked tweet in history. Over the weekend, the NBA observing a moment of silence.
We finally had our Black superhero. And to lose that is sad in our community.
On social media, friends and young fans mourn the loss of the on-screen king. In an emotional letter, Black Panther director Ryan Coogler writing in part, Boseman was an epic firework display. In African cultures, we often refer to loved ones that have passed on as ancestors. It is with a heavy heart that I have to reckon with the fact that Chad is an ancestor now. President Barack Obama also writing, to be young, gifted, and Black, to use that power to give them heroes to look up to do it all while in pain. What a use of his years.
We all know what it's like to be told that there is not a place for you to be featured, yet you are young, gifted, and Black.
While battling cancer privately, Boseman filmed 7 movies, a courageous act that perhaps prepared him for his greatest role.
We all have a superhero in us. We feel like we can do things that are beyond, comprehension.
And guys, Disney says a sequel to Black Panther is in pre-production. No word on how they'll handle the death of Boseman, but he will be in a movie premiering later this year on Netflix. This one hit us all pretty hard this weekend. I think, and Willie, you talked about this earlier this morning, he was so regal on screen and off screen. And I remember when he was here not too long ago, and I'm proudly showing a picture of my boys dressed up as Black Panther, and he was so gracious. And I think he just embodied a real life superhero. And again, we had no idea what he was going.
What he was going through. Oh my God.
Yes.
Anybody got any thoughts on that they want to share?
We just definitely, I like to just summarize everything they were saying. To be in pain while you're doing a movie that you know is going to empower your people, that is amazing, and that should be commemorated. For real. I loved Wakanda. I think I watched it 3 times. Wakanda forever, y'all. I think it's a little too far, but people was getting the tattoos in their mouth. But yeah, yeah. But Wakanda forever, y'all.
Ooh, that probably hurt. But I know. I just remember like a few months ago, like I guess he was on some type of like internet platform or social media or something, and he looked so very skinny, and like everybody made jokes about it, and like just to hear him passing, like I'm almost ashamed because I was definitely the one like sharing posts and stuff, and I was just like he had cancer. Like it's just really sad, and like Janice in the video spoke of, like we lost a superhero today, or not today, but that day. It still hurt. I don't really know how y'all think they're gonna follow up the Black Panther though. Like I don't
They
even know.
probably already have content that they were working on, so they'll probably just use like a compilation and try to use somebody that looks kind of like him to make it, all come to life. They have like digi whatever, where they could take someone's face and put it on someone else's face, kind of like green screen. So I would imagine that they'd do something like that.
Is that something that y'all would go see though?
I'll go see it. Hey, people dressed up to go see Black Panther.
I definitely watched the trailer. Now, if the trailer, hey, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. If the trailer isn't good and I could tell that it's not, I might not go.
They're gonna put it on Netflix. We're gonna all be at home. We can watch it on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
Never mind then.
I'll watch it.
Definitely.
Go watch Power Project too.
Project Power.
Project.
I just wanted to say, give my thoughts on it as well. I just wanted to say that, Boseman, he was very impactful to the Black community. He was somebody that a lot of people looked up to. When he played Jackie Robinson in that movie where he was facing a lot of racism and prejudice when he was in the, what is it? It's not the NBA, it's the, I don't know what it's called. Major League Baseball, NLB or whatever. When he was in the NLB, Lordsville, that's the actual abbreviation for it. But he has played a lot of powerful roles that sometimes he doesn't get recognized for. That us as a community, the first thing that pops into our mind is Black Panther. We don't think about the Jackie Robinson role. We don't think about him playing and Heartbeats or whatever. Yes, we don't think about any of that. We just think about the pop culture, the thing that came to pop culture first, rather than looking at our own history and how he contributed to the telling of our stories. The thing is, a lot of people don't know that we're the first people that came up with rock and roll. When you think of rock and roll today, you think of a bunch of white people with
Elvis made it too.
Elvis was a culture vulture. He stole some of our dance moves.
But just to speak on that point you just brought up about him telling our stories, it really shows you how today we've lost the idea of what a history is. I mean, what a hero is, because in many eyes, Jackie Robinson is a hero, but to the mass population, he isn't, because to them he didn't have superpowers. But like he said in the video, he said that everybody has a hero inside of them. So yeah.
Yes, and the thing is, that's another thing. We got to start seeing the heroes inside of the people that we see on a day-to-day basis. Right. Like, for instance, the fathers that are out here participating in their children's lives. As hard as law enforcement is getting it today, we got to look at some of our Black police officers, like they're trying to equal the playing field so that we have some representation in those places. It's like discussions that need to be had, and there's Black people that's, they be cooning sometimes, but they're Black people trying to step into those arenas or those places where we are, where you only see like maybe one or two of us, just to show that, hey, we're here. And we're here, we're listening to continue that dialect, because a lot of times generational issues that stem from slavery are often ignored, and so those people bring that back up. Like, that's a discussion that needs to be had. So, yeah,
exactly. And also see the hero in the people sitting right next to you too, and treat them with that same, you know, honor that you give somebody that is doing superpowers and magic, you know. So
yeah. So that's a perfect little segue into our next topic, which is about, do Black lives really matter? You know, recently here in Denver, we had a march from Aurora to Denver, Colorado, which is a 5-mile march for the remembrance of, in honor of, is Elijah McClain. August the 30th, 2020 was the anniversary, the first year anniversary of Elijah McClain's death. And over, I don't know, I think it was like hundreds of Denver residents, they took to the streets with their signs in memory of other Black people that have fallen at the hands of police brutality as well. And so I have an article and a video to go with that, and we're going to go ahead and dive right in. This is not
Colorado is getting a good grip on the coronavirus pandemic, but schools are just now starting that struggle as classes resume in person. Plus, the state launches a new program to help small business.
Okay. All right. You have 30 seconds.
Celebrate the freedom most Americans have. We must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
At a time when other parts of the country are seeing violent demonstration, hundreds here in Colorado are showing what peaceful protest looks like.
Today, they took to the streets to march from Denver to Aurora, or from Aurora to Denver, rather, calling for an end to racism and police brutality. Today also marks 1 year since the death of Elijah McClain. Thank you for joining us at 10 o'clock. I'm Jason Brennan.
And I'm Jacqueline Allen. Denver 7's Lance Hernandez followed those protesters this afternoon. Joins us live near the Capitol. Hi, Lance.
Well, an estimated 600 to 1,000 people took part in that protest today, walking 5.5 miles to share their message about the need to fight racism and brutality. Some of those folks coming from across the country to do so.
Hundreds of people marched on Colfax from the MLK Library in Aurora to the MLK Memorial at Denver City Park.
I'm here to fight for justice for Elijah McClain. I flew in all the way from San Francisco, California, and I'm here to show support to my Black brothers and sisters.
Mansour from San Francisco says no lives matter until Black lives matter. Once marchers got to Denver, police directed traffic off Colfax, one stretch at a time, to keep pedestrians safe. Along with hundreds on foot, there were dozens of cars honking horns. The event began with some fiery speakers in Aurora.
We're not only fighting white supremacy, but those who are afraid of change.
All lives have never mattered. They don't even matter today.
Terrence Roberts of the Frontline Party for Revolutionary Action talking about the neo-fascist Proud Boys.
You proud of babies and pages? Do all lives matter now?
As the march snaked along Colfax, customers at restaurants along the way got a close-up look. I asked this couple about their thoughts.
People need to listen and acknowledge that we have a race problem in this country, and you know, it starts here.
There's good cops and there's bad cops. We need to keep the bad cops accountable.
The march ended in City Park with another rally. organizers exhorting participants to stay in groups and to stay safe.
And tonight, traffic is flowing smoothly up.
All right.
Okay.
All right, so let's dive into this article.
Thank you.
This is what democracy looks like. If they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. At this point, I'm just like, whoever the Lord decides to wake up, he wakes up. If not, no asking.
Your ass is grand.
From the jump, since the beginning, you were meant to die.
Yeah.
Good luck.
It's crazy.
You're gonna be able to write songs to an artist style. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. All right. So that's what I'm looking for. Lord's will, some of y'all can step up and join the team. All right. So anybody who's interested, please y'all can just leave y'all information right here. Let me know, yes, I'm with it. I want to be down with it, and then I'll add you to that particular group, all right, to that writers group that we're creating. And then we'll have some meetings, and then we're going to talk about exactly what's going to happen and what's going to go on. All right, so Lord's will, you're having a great day. Most High Christ bless. Shalom.
Do you know if you can take one more?
I can.
And she's getting turkey for the greens.
Oh, goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me put my phone on silent. All right, we're back at it. Okay. So, on another note, so we got the gist of everything that we're hearing basically about the protesting, and that kind of opens the discussion of, do Black lives really matter? And do you guys think that protesting and voting and things of that nature are going to be a way for us to escape the injustice that has been inflicted on us for over 400 years?
So, do I think Black lives matter? Of course. To society, I feel like I'm gonna say no, because this is not this everybody thinks we're trying to start a race war. But like we've covered this in other podcasts, like this race war has been in continuance. Like we've only been trying to end it. So I feel like since it's taken so long for us to just now be getting a response, I'm gonna definitely say Black lives do not matter in society. I'll leave that there.
Black lives don't matter in society. That's how you're gonna leave it out.
I mean, I could definitely elaborate.
Elaborate.
Okay, I mean, like we see it in, like, I hear a common argument, well, white people get killed more than black people. If you look at statistics, there are a lot more white people than there are black people. If they were killed at the same rate, it would almost be quadruple our number of, or a number of African Americans being killed. You could fact check me if you like. Um, with that being said, that completely dismisses that argument, because of course, if you have more of something, there's gonna be, like, it's gonna correlate directly. So, like, we see that in situations where I walk into a job interview and this is the first question they ask without asking it. You feel me? Like, they already got a story written about me as soon as I walk in the door, and post to my counterparts. You see it in you walking down the street and a lady clutches her purse just because you're black. Or we see it in videos where white people are being tased and contained for carrying knives, chasing police officers, but let a black person walk off aggressive and he gets shot in the back 6 or 7 times. And I am there.
I definitely agree. And I feel like I definitely agree. I just feel like as a society, as a black society, we don't care about our lives.
Very true.
We're the first ones to abort our kids. The most unsafe place for a baby to be is in a black woman's womb. So let's do those statistics. Let's think about that. I'm just saying, we have no love for ourselves. And I'm not gonna be a hypocrite. I'm learning how to love myself every single second. You know what I'm saying? So we really gotta tune in to self-love, self-care, and then we can extend it out. But it's very evident when you don't love yourself, because there's a quote. It's like, clean off the vomit that somebody vomited on you, or you're gonna vomit on people that didn't even vomit on you. So you're just acting out, you're being aggressive towards other brothers and sisters when they haven't done anything to you. That's the murder rate, the black on black crime. That's the black women, what's it called, World Star, black women fighting each other everywhere they go, black men fighting each other. So we just really need to love each other, love ourselves, and don't see this as like a badge of dishonor, but a badge of honor. This melanin right here is beautiful.
So I want to, from my own personal opinion, I would like to say that Black lives don't matter. And the reason why I say that is in order for Black lives to matter, Black lives have to matter to Black people. Black people have to stop killing one another in order for the people that have been killing us for hundreds of years to stop killing us. They killed us, but now we have like Stockholm syndrome to the point where we hate one another. We inflict our own self-hatred on one another. So for Black lives to truly matter, they have to matter to us first. If you're sick, when you're on an airplane, because I love the example that she gave, but this is an example that you can't save anyone else's life until you save your life. So when you're on a plane and that mug's about to go down, or even when you're on a plane before anything even starts to happen, the flight attendant comes out and tells you, in the case that we get into an accident or something happens and this plane is about to go down, get the oxygen mask and put it on yourself first before you put it on anyone else. As a people, we need to use that analogy to heal, to start the healing for ourselves. When we start to heal, then our lives can actually matter. But as of right now, we're a bunch of scarred people, damaged people, injured people that are only we're not taking care of the wound. We're not dressing it. We're not getting any stitches. We're not doing any of that. Instead of doing that, we're putting bandages on top of it, and it's getting infected, and we're killing one another, and we're hurting one another. We think that, we do a lot of trends that we're writing. We didn't even start some of them, or some of them we didn't even start. They were started by a lot of record companies that are not owned by people that look like us. It's popular persuasion used to destroy the Black community. Seriously. So in order for Black lives to truly matter, they have to matter to us first. Period.
Yeah.
And
just
go ahead.
really quickly, my condolences to the family of Elijah and McClain. First of all, honor and all respect to them.
I would like to say honor. I would like to give respects to them for losing somebody in their family. Hopefully he's resting in peace, and he's
Don't
resting.
take a settlement.
Huh?
I said, don't take a settlement. Please keep the fight going. They're gonna offer you 6 figures, 6 or 7, to keep you quiet. Voices need to be heard. We seen that in our last podcast. Families taking millions of dollars like that's supposed to replace a life, and then the conversation dies down.
Yeah.
Like, I understand. I don't know your situation. You might need the money, but I guess I shouldn't say what to do. But
When somebody puts that much money in your face and you jump on it, it's like PR. It's controlling the public relations. You see what I'm saying? So that it's no longer talked about, because guess what? It's been appeased already. The complaint is gone. So if you think about it, instead of taking all of these settlements, so to speak, and actually continuing the fight and not taking their money, because money doesn't suffice for the murder and the death rate of people that look like you, then the fight has to continue to go on, and it has to be addressed. But if you take a settlement, then it kills the argument. It's like, okay, so we see what you were really after. You weren't after justice. People say no justice, no peace. Well, as soon as you get your peace, you feel like you've got justice.
And if they're throwing that type of money in your face, it's because you have a case, most likely, and they want it to get shut up. But should we move on?
That's called hush money.
Yeah.
Yes. And I have one last video that I would like to show. Let me get there real quick. Let me get there. All right.
We have to reimagine this thing. Yeah. Some would say let it burn. Right? Yeah. And then build something different. We can have that conversation, but at the very least, we need to know that the systems don't work in the interest of justice.
No, I think that's right. And I think that our people know the why, right? I think our people have definitely seen that, like, the house is on fire. The question isn't the why, it's the how, right? How do we not just reform broken systems, but really transform them? And I think that we've seen folks all over the country and internationally coming together in ways like with the Movement for Black Lives and other grassroots social justice organizations and revolutionary organizations, saying that we've got to figure out how to get past these transactional relationships that only produce reform work towards this transformative justice.
And I think that that's, really what I'm speaking to is that I think your point around healthcare is a perfect one. Had the sort of compromise around healthcare, which was a problematic compromise, not been the stopping point for the left, but been sort of the starting point towards what we really want, it would have been the metric along the way to knowing that we were sort of shifting or breaking down structures, but it was a stopping point. And so often what I see, which has been a problem, I think, in our civil rights movement, is that we don't look deeply at the text. We look at the moments and we celebrate sort of like the moments of a signing of a bill as the stopping point, or the moment of a march as the stopping point, not the sort of vision and the demands behind how we got to that point. So we stop at the Voting Rights Act when that was the best compromise they could have gotten in 65. We work to protect that from years instead of working to advance on.
We have to reimagine this thing.
Yes.
That video was very interesting. I like the points that they hit. Us as a community, we're very time sensitive. So we're on that microwave generation type thing where, oh, okay, we did it. We went out, we marched, we got some recognition. The TV seen us. My grandma seen us on TV. I spoke to the news people. They know what we're talking about. And we just let that be the end all be all, when we should continue to keep pushing. I think as a community, we struggle with vacant esteem. So we settle for less. We settle for less in our relationships and our friendships. We settle for less in our own endeavors. So what they were talking about is so important to the very nature of our community. The reason we're stuck. The reason having one Black hero is even okay in 2020. The reason today we can't all just, as a Black community, we can't get along. We got Crips over here, we got Bloods over here, we got one block away from each other, and they keep moving us. And we're saying this is our block, we're claiming a block, we're settling for a block now. So we're always settling for something. We really need to, we don't need to push legislation as much as we need to push one another, exhort one another to do better and to be better. And that goes also for not allowing your brothers and sisters to shoot each other, to kill each other, to rape, rob, and murder each other without you saying anything. Oh, what happens in this house stays in this house, baby. No, my pain and my hurt from this community, from this bad culture, is not staying in just one house. It's going everywhere. It's bleeding into everybody's house. So we really have to do more as a community. That's it.
One piece that stuck out to me specifically was the transformation over reformation. So that just speaks to like completely, transforming a system as opposed to making minor adjustments to the system. We gotta take the system apart and then put it together with only the stuff that's empowering for, I guess, I'm not gonna say every community, but that's the point I'm trying to make, is we just gotta take away this system that's we have in place now and transform it, not reform, into something greater.
Right. And there was one major part there's two parts that stuck out to me, which is one, the part that you're speaking of, but the part where they're talking about the house being on fire. That is making a reference to the Martin Luther King speech where he talks about leading his people into a burning house. And that's what a lot of things that happened when it came to quote unquote equality and desegregation and things of that nature, because what happened when we desegregated was that a lot of the wealth that was in our communities, that it was only stuck within that community and it only benefited that community. That wealth, when desegregation happened, that wealth moved out and it moved into a white community where it benefited the white community, because tax dollars go towards education. It goes towards the conditions of the roads, the conditions of the community, what businesses are in that community. That's why gentrification is such a powerful thing at this moment in time, because when you have whites moving into what used to be a predominantly Black community, and that wealth is moving into that community, we get better businesses, better schools, things of that nature. Because guess what? The interest of those people using their tax dollars, their property dollars, to retribution of wealth. I could not say that at all. Redistribution of wealth, how that affects us, we don't understand it, because we don't understand the redistribution of wealth at all. And we don't understand how owning property actually benefits our community. And I remember one time I was in a class and we were talking about the schooling system, and a white lady looked at me and she said, well, Black people don't have the right to complain about their schools because guess what? They rent. We rent. We don't contribute to how schools are taken care of, how much teachers are getting paid, who's teaching, things like that. PTA, Parent Teacher Association, yeah, that's great, but who's paying the teachers? Taxpayers. That's why I put so much stress on owning my own place, because at the end of the day, if I do have children, I want to be able to say that I contributed to them in their schooling, in the schooling system, in the place that they would possibly be educated. But I definitely stress also homeschooling, especially as parents of color. And the issue with that also is economic, because we can't afford for only one parent to have a job, so on and so forth, because of the way that the system is set up for us. But also, she also made the point of, when it comes to protesting, we forget why we're out there protesting. We're just out there. It's a trend. We're just out there saying, hey, hey, ho, ho, Donald Trump has got to go, or whatever is the saying at the time. We forgot that a shooting got us out there. We forgot that a life was lost is what got us out there. People had signs for Black Lives Matter, but rare, like maybe one or two people had a sign for actual Elijah McClain. So they're forgetting what got them out there. And they're looking at short-term satisfaction for long-term solutions. And that one doesn't appease the other. We need long-term rather than short-term.
Exactly. And then also with those people that are protesting and not really knowing what they're going out there for, they have to ask themselves, what really was my agenda? Did I just want to be seen or say, I did that? Because I've seen a lot of people come up to me like, oh, yeah, I went to the march and, oh, yeah, I did it. Yeah, I was there. Yeah. I'm like, okay, so what's the problem? Crickets. They don't have nothing to say. They have nothing to say. So they really have to ask themselves, why would I waste my time and waste the time of those around me to just stand out there and look silly and don't even know what I'm talking about?
Very good point.
Segue, we drive into the next topic. Okay, so we're gonna have our brother here, Brother M, Brother Mark.
Yes, sir.
He's gonna get into his talk about the coronavirus. Coronavirus is getting real.
So yes, as Sarai said, the first topic I wanted to go over was indeed coronavirus. Basically, I'll go over so basically, a doctor, or one of the nurses, the staff, whatever, was working at a hospital, and she basically made a video on how since the outbreak of COVID in the United States, she hasn't done anything since she's been working. If there's a COVID outbreak and people are dying and people are being helped and people are being inserted in your hospitals that supposedly have COVID, how is she saying that her and her staff members haven't been doing anything? I just found it interesting. And a lot of people think that COVID is a conspiracy. We can discuss that, whether or not, but yes, it should be an article. I couldn't find the video, or the video that they were talking about. I could not find it. That's literally just a picture of the girl. It was so frustrating. You can.
I might do those. Okay. Okay. Louise Hampton, who works for Care UK, posted a video to Facebook on Wednesday in which she claimed her service had been dead throughout the COVID-19 pandemic and she had done nothing at all. Brandishing her NHS badge and a certificate signed by a Care UK manager that thanked her for making a difference to patients, Ms. Hampton said, apparently I worked really hard during COVID. She then went on a rant, peppered with profanity, and claimed that she had done no work because our service was dead. We aren't getting the calls. It was dead. COVID is a loud and I didn't clap for the NHS. I didn't clap for myself. In a statement, Care UK, which provides call centers and a range of other services to the NHS, said, it was interesting. We are aware of this video, which we consider to be materially inaccurate in a number of ways, and can confirm that a member of staff is subject to investigation, a spokesperson said. We expect all our colleagues and services to support the work of the NHS in giving the public the right information and support during the pandemic. Our call centers were in fact exceptionally busy, handling a peak of 400% more calls than usual. Our team showed huge commitment and dedication in delivering the service, and we have rightly thanked them for the efforts they have made.
So, with that being said, how do you guys feel about what the nurse or doctor said herself, and then how the company that she worked for or however that worked, covered it up very quickly. Up my bad.
So again, it's like it kind of goes back to that idea of like that Band-Aid, just putting something over and not treating it, not using no alcohol, no anything, and it's not really treating the wound. Instead, they're covering it up, and it's kind of like, okay, well, there's a pandemic going on, and we know people are dying, but instead of actually addressing this raised concern by somebody actually working in the medical field that knows what's going on by hands-on experience, we're just gonna cover it up. She doesn't know what she's talking about, because the thing is, just because you own a hospital does not mean you know anything about medical. That's like me owning a hospital, and one of my sisters, she's a nurse, she's a surgical nurse, and I'm telling her, girl, his leg is not broke. You just need to just wrap it up. Right. Wrap it up. He gonna be all right, girl. He gonna be all right. No, like you, whose opinion will you value more? My opinion, because I own the hospital and because I have so much money that I could actually afford. I'm financially capable of sustaining a hospital rather than someone who actually did time in both school, college, post grad, and experience. You know what I'm saying? She probably, I don't know how many years of experience that she has, but she has enough of an understanding to know that, okay, I'm a nurse and I'm just literally just chilling. And there's people coming up in here, 400 people a day dying of the coronavirus.
Right. And to land me back off of that, see, it really is it's an issue even here in Colorado. I actually have a sister that's a surgical nurse, and she says she only got like 2 COVID-19 patients during this entire time in Colorado Springs. So it's very questionable. It does raise questions. I would not say that COVID-19 is a conspiracy, but I will say they have they have upped the numbers. Like everybody that dies in this certain month, they're gonna say died of COVID-19 instead of saying she died of a heart attack, he died of an aneurysm, he died of something else. They're gonna, build it up because that's making people more scared or making them lean on the government more as well. So I'm just gonna say that COVID-19 is real, y'all. Protect yourselves, but they ain't all going to the hospital for that. That's what I think.
That makes me want to pull up that COVID-19 song by that dude, that pastor.
We really should though. You should put it on the screen.
Go ahead, keep
COVID-19.
talking. It's still recording.
I guess I just want to end on that topic by saying I had a family friend passed from supposedly COVID, but let me tell y'all, her initial report from, I guess, whoever examined her body showed no signs of COVID, right? Nothing like they gave, I forget what they said she passed from, but it wasn't COVID related. And then they get a second opinion and now, oh, COVID. And then no other signs of anything else. I'll just let that sink in.
Yeah.
It's so many cases that have been boosted to COVID. I'm not going to say to scare us because I don't want to think it's a conspiracy either. I think it's very real and you should cover your face.
Right.
Like, err on the side of caution, but
right.
It's like crazy.
And I also have somebody that had COVID-19. She had asthma. She was one of my old coworkers. It's a real thing. But I definitely think the government wants to scare us.
And she's alive still.
Yeah, she's alive. She lived through it, but she sounded like she was gonna die. She's like, I'm working today. I'm like, girl, get off the phone. Go lay down. Please. Oh, I'm not gonna say her name, but yes, please.
You almost said it. Okay, y'all. I got a video just to add a little bit of comic relief because it's better to laugh than it is to cry. So let's laugh a little bit. Let's choke a little bit. Let's chuckle. Okay. Great. Let's go.
I love this video. It's the funniest thing.
Are you ready to be heard? Learn music production online at the Los Angeles Recording School, a division of the Los Angeles Film School. Learn how to
Then sang Moses and the children of Israel this song unto the Lord. COVID-19, 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 COVID-19. I roll away the wind of God from the state of Washington to the state of Maine to Brownsville, Texas, and the Triple Fork. Today, we speak to this atmosphere. Today, burn this thing. This virus hates heat. You just burn this thing. Burn, burn. I call for a supernatural heat wave straight out of hell. Burn, burn. COVID-19, 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 COVID-19. I roll the wind of God. You don't do it. You don't do it. You don't do it. You get out of here now. Burn. You don't do it. You don't do it. You don't do it. You get out of here. Burn this thing. COVID-19. 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 I roll the wind of God. You are destroyed forever, and you will never be back.
There have been many people that have died after he made that song, so I don't think
Whoa!
He brought fire from hell and wind from God. I was like, you don't know where you at. Okay. Okay. So, just to talk on him. If my old coworker, I wish he would have blew, and then maybe her COVID-19 would have went away. But it didn't. Faster, yes.
You think that went viral?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you're tagged in a video, I'm pretty sure.
Mm.
The way them people, you don't do it. You don't do it. You don't do it. You don't do it.
Crazy.
For real. That is so funny.
Yeah, it's the first time I ever seen that.
Really?
I'm so for her.
Oh my gosh, we've been watching that since COVID-19 started. Because he was like, if you can't get to the church, put your money underneath the door and do what you gotta do. Yes, COVID-19. I'm like, bruh, you just want that money though. You just
money
under the church door. Don't come in the church. No.
Yeah.
But put the money under the door. That's serving.
Man, he's one of the top richest pastors.
I
think he's like billion. He's worth like more than $1 billion. He's rich.
Wow.
That's why he went to put the money under the door.
I was about to say they was definitely putting that. They was putting checks under the door.
Mega church.
They was putting checks under the door.
That's a mega church. Yes, and I think he's in Texas.
Oh yeah.
His heir is gonna save me. Like no, you better get out of here. Right. Everybody that's with him, y'all are disgraced at this moment. I'm sorry. My grandma watching him.
Oh my God.
Okay.
So our next topic that we were going to discuss was the 17-year-old that I seen on my sister's TikTok, because I don't follow none of that TikTok stuff. But we have a cousin that suffers from Down syndrome, unfortunately, and but he's one of the brightest kids you could ever meet. So this is just a little bit of awareness, and TikTok is a trend nowadays. So this is just kind of a cool little laid back video.
You don't know it.
That was funny. That's the first time I've ever seen.
Blow it away. Cause he just blew up. I don't even know each other.
I remember I've seen him on one of them radio shows.
I'm gonna just talk to you guys about opportunities near us, Denver, Colorado. We're based in Denver, Colorado, so we're gonna give you some opportunities in Colorado. The first one I'm gonna start with is Connect Colorado. That's Colorado.com. You can go there. There's a statistic that there's 39,000 jobs available out there. So due to COVID-19 and other people getting fired and issues going on like that. So please get on there and try to get yourself a job here in Colorado. The next one is through the Colorado government. It's www.gov/Pacific/ and I'm gonna put these in the description of the video. /CDLE/job training. They offer trainings, they offer jobs, and most of the programs are free, if not barely anything. So yes. And then we're gonna go to this video of this lady, just talking about jobs and everything like that. We're gonna see what people's take on jobs and job interviews are.
Process. Interviewing while Black should never mean that I didn't receive this job offer because you didn't understand me or my culture, or heaven forbid, you felt intimidated by me. Interviewing while Black should mean that I am judged by the content of my character rather than the color of my skin. Interviewing while Black means that when you see my name, any of my professional associations, and even my address, it should never mean that I'm discounted or I'm counted out or I'm overlooked from the hiring process because something appears too ethnic, too Black, or I may be from the bad side of a neighborhood. I should never be counted out from the experience of interviewing for this company.
Okay, yes. So do you guys think her views are realistic, that when we go to every job interview, they're not going to look at the color of our skin, they're not going to look at the neighborhood we live from, they're not going to look at our last name, you know what I'm saying? Do you guys think that's realistic?
No. Not at all.
And why in 2020 do you guys think that life is still like that?
I mean,
racism is real.
True. And unfortunately, we've associated like our color of our skin with certain narratives. So, and narratives that really are based off nothing. Especially applying for a job is already breaking stereotypes for most African Americans. Applying for like good jobs and like actually wanting to work a 9 to 5 and getting up or even working after schools, like that's something that you should never take into account of your color, because it's all in to not act like the stereotype that y'all want us to be a part of so bad.
Exactly. And if you go through and watch her whole video, she does like really talk very positively about Black people and how we can get into those jobs that are high profile. I'm going to show one more picture that just pretty much explains and shows everybody like what you should do on a job. I was going to show you. Go down to the picture and just click it. So these are just basic things that everybody is told, but you want to make sure that you practice the questions and everything, because as Black people, yeah, we do have these stigmas on us, but we can overcome those stigmas through being the best we can be. Just practice the interviewing questions with peers, family members, yourself. Get ready ahead of time so you're not late, because that's a stigma on us, that's a stereotype on us. And then try to stay calm. So if they do show you discrimination, if they are saying, well, you're Black, you're a felon, just stay calm. Yeah, I do have that on my record, but I'm trying to change my life around. This is what I'm here to do, blah, 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 blah. And then research the company. You want to know what you're applying for. You want to know what you're getting into. This will help you get past all those biases too, because if the company is against bias or against discrimination of any kind like that. And then be on time, of course. That's why you're getting ready in advance. And then you want to follow up after the interview. So after your interview, you want to send a nice little email, or call them and be like, hey, I just came about a day or two ago in regards to this job, whatever job you went for. And then just thank them for the interview, thank them for their time, and ask them if you got the job or not. That's what you want to do. to make sure that you get the job. Because as Black folks, we work hard. A lot of us work really hard to get what we got. So just keep that work ethic up and you're going to get that job.
The follow-up is very important to add to that. It shows your urgency and dedication to the job. I recommend.
I have no words because I've been trying to get a job forever, y'all, but my follow-up sucks and I don't get up early enough to even look for a job, so I have to do more.
Yes.
You want to get up early. You don't want to be applying for a job at 7 p.m. You want to be up and on it. You want to be able to be up and be calling people and doing everything that you need to do to get that job. So, going forward, I'm going to try to do more. I have a job. I have 2-3 jobs right now, but you know what? I'm going to do more to try to get another job.
Right. And really, it's so great to hear, hear you guys' side of that because we can do it, y'all. We can get these jobs. We can make that money, y'all. We got this.
That legal money.
Even if it's 4 jobs.
For real. We doing our final piece today.
Yeah, hey, we could just end on that COVID-19 song. No.
Yeah, let's play that
Burn! Burn!
Isn't there another remix where you just like...
I would be saying that all day.
I was singing that song for a good
just
minute.
Blow it away.
I'm sorry. I had to. I was just like, this is just so hilarious. Oh my goodness.
Oh, please tap into our song. It's still in the works, but it will be out.
Yeah.
It will.
And he wants to be featured on your song.
50K.
Hi, I'm Sophia.
Yeah, he's gonna pay you.
Then sang Moses and the children of Israel this song unto the Lord. COVID-19. What? COVID-19. What? COVID-19. What? COVID-19. What? Roll. The wind of God. From the state of Washington to the state of Maine.